My name is Betty Harrington. Before I was married, my name was King. I was a pupil at Southend High School for girls from 1940 to 45. I found out about the outbreak of war when it was announced on the radio and I was with my parents. I can't remember if it was Neville Chamberlain or Winston Churchill. I remember a man's voice saying that we are at war, and that was it. Well, I was evacuated and we shared a school with the grammar school in Mansfield Woodhouse. So we went to school in the afternoons and they went in the morning. It was very difficult at first in Mansfield because it was in a town. I was used to being at the seaside, and it was right in a town, in a mining town. Everybody used to speak differently, and it did seem very strange at first, but it was one of those things you just, when you're younger, you get used to it. Their name was Houghton, that's Hooton. That was the family I was evacuated with. They had one son, Dallas. He was in his 20s in the army, so they were an older couple, and they used to own the grocer's shop in the village. So I used to help out quite a lot, weighing out rations of butter and tea, and generally helping in the shop, which I used to love, and all my friends were jealous. We had a sweet shop next door. I can remember it as being all dark brown paint and just a counter, hardly any sweets. And that's when I first had a Mars bar with my sweet coupons. When they had some in, we queued up and got a Mars bar. And it was things like that that stand out in your mind. Three of us went to the park one day, and the miners were making a lot of noise, and we went up a little bank, and to my horror they were cockfighting, and we just ran as fast as we could. We were absolutely terrified. It was all these miners. It stuck in my mind so much. Talking again about the miners, I used to be in a front bedroom and we only had a candle, and quite late at night I used to hear them coming out of the pub opposite. Black Bull was the pub opposite, and I used to creep up to the window in the dark and watch them coming out drunk and dive into bed in case they saw me. I used to be quite frightened of all these miners, but it was quite funny afterwards thinking about it. I didn't really miss the family. I didn't have a great rapport with them because they were older people somehow, and everybody else seemed to be staying with younger ones who sort of took their foster children out more, whereas I didn't really go anywhere. I spent a lot of time in the garden with my foster father. He was very nice man. He used to teach me all about gardening and his favourite plants, and yeah, he was great. It was a nice family to be with, but I was glad to be going home. Rationing was, I suppose it was all right. We didn't have very much, but luckily I had a mum who could stretch things and make things more or less out of nothing. I can remember if we had an egg, we used to make a cake and things like that. And what I remember quite well was making marzipan out of soya flour and almond essence, and that works very well. It tastes just like marzipan, and we used to do things like that. And dried egg, which nobody seemed to like, but I did. Um, Rationing stayed on for a long time. I think it was until the early 50s. Because when I got married, I had to use clothing coupons, and I bought curtain material. I bought satin to make bridesmaids' dresses with coupons. So it was still on ration then. So it did stay with us for a long time. About 6 years ago, I went on to Friends Reunited, and I put in the name Harold Houghton, which was my foster father, and up came Charles Houghton, his grandson, and he sent me quite a long email, and he still lives in Lisbon, and when he came over last summer, he came down to Southend and we went out for a day, and I told him a lot about his grandparents that he didn't know about because they were long gone. And so we got on really well. We still keep in touch. His mother is in Scotland, so he comes over occasionally. But we still keep in touch, sort of holidays and emails now and again, and messages, which is rather nice. And when we came back, my toy monkey was in the fireplace because the removal men were coming and they were going to leave him behind, so I rescued him. His ears are still there, look.